Pace Morby. If you haven't heard of him, you will today. Phenomenal real estate investor. One of my favorite shows ever. I got 5 pages of notes. I'm not kidding. I took notes the whole time. I got 5 pages of little handwriting notes.
So if you're listening, folks, you can make some dough.
Can anybody get into this who's motivated?
1,000%.
Why aren't more people flocking into this?
This is the formula right here. It's called subject to. Bro, you're making me sick right now. Why would the bank let me do that?
But this guy seemed to come out of nowhere, and he's got an unbelievable following, tribe. He's got a top podcast. He's got the most popular TV show on A&E called Triple Digit Flip. But what's even more impressive is his heart to serve.
Pace Morby is the guy for all things real estate, and he does it all with something called creative financing.
It's going to be everything and anything you could ever want to know about creative financing.
When I watch Pace, you know what I see? I see a guy who got a whole universe of shoelets who told him, you can't do it that way. And he said, "It, watch me."
Yo, everybody. Welcome to Get Creative. Tonight, we're going to be hanging out, talking about businesses, scaling businesses. I've got one of my business partners on the live with us tonight, Cody freaking Barton. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Did you head over and hang out with your mom today?
We actually had Hayel's family over, and it was carne asada and, all the things. So her family was over, and all the little kids running around. And
this is why you marry a Hispanic woman, bro. You get all the good things. Everybody travels to Arizona to get tacos and good Mexican food. You get it every day, bro.
Every day.
Every day. Guys, happy Mother's Day. Yes, we are doing a live today on Sunday. A couple of reasons why. My daughter is dancing in the Diamondbacks arena tomorrow. And so I wanted to make sure that I was there for that. That's more important than anything else. And so we decided to go live like we used to for many, many years. Cody Barton and I did a podcast for probably 3 years, every single Sunday night for 3 years. We were the reasons Wholesale Hotline are around. A lot of people don't know that. And if I tell you the story, it's kind of a funny one, but Cody and I started doing our podcast on a freaking telephone call. People would have to call in, and they would have to ask questions by pressing *6 and waiting in line. And you're thinking, oh, this must have been 1997. No, this was like 2019. Okay. It's not that long ago. We were, the technology was there. We just didn't know what we were doing. And we were failing forward and doing everything we possibly could to just provide value to people. I remember Alec Lebec, actually, who sold us the house. What's the house on 223rd that you and I have a couple $100,000 in equity on that thing?
Yeah, 223rd.
223rd. How much equity do we have on that house right now? Just ballpark.
I think we have like around 300,000.
$300,000. So think about this, guys. Back in 2019, it's not that long ago, 5 years. This house, we overpaid, I'd say $50,000. But we got a really good rate. We bought it sub 2. We bought the rate, and we said, look, this thing's going to cash flow. And it did. It cash flowed, I don't know, probably $700 a month. That thing actually produced really well for 5 years.
Yes.
And our lease option tenant, basically, very long story short, decided this wasn't going to be the right thing for us. And so they went a different direction. So Cody and I are sitting here on this house with a 3.5% interest rate, $300,000 in equity. And that bad boy has cash flowed probably $40,000, $50,000 over the last 5 years for us. And when we bought it, Alec Lebec said, "You are overpaying for this property. Are you a freaking lunatic?" Alec Lebec, I looked it up, by the way, because I talked about this at Squat Up Summit, Cody. Alec Lebec took a $5,000 assignment fee on that bad boy, and you and I have made $500,000 on that thing. $500,000. So that came from our first podcast. We were doing these calls and doing them on Sunday. Alec Lebec would call in and ask questions about real estate, and we'd answer them. And ultimately we'd buy deals from people that were calling in, asking us questions. And that one house that, what are we doing with it now? What did we decide to do?
I mean, just continue keeping it as a rental. I mean, there's no balloon on it. The rate's so low. We pay almost $1,000 a month in principal pay down on the deal. And
Holy crap.
and it rents for almost $3,000 a month. I think our mortgage with everything, we have a first and second, is like $1,900, $2,000 a month. So
wow. Well, I say all of that to tell you guys, Cody and I have been doing business for a long time. And in the last couple of years, we've pivoted in our partnership to primarily focus on acquisition of businesses. Cody's a great operator and has assembled a team that runs our organization: CFO, head of sales, head of operations, just a badass, just SWAT team, so to speak. Like, we go find a company that has problems. Oh, and there are problems. We should talk about that for a little bit tonight. There are problems in these businesses, and Cody's assembled a team that we go find a company, we buy that company, we consult for equity, whatever it is, and we come in with our SWAT team and we infiltrate and we solve all of those problems and take all the bad guys out of that company. Company we bought last year, June 10th, 2023. Company was losing about $100,000 a month. Now that company makes, I don't know, $80,000 to $100,000 a month, somewhere in there.
yeah, it was last month of 78,000. So pretty close on there.
That's like a 180-degree flip on that business. And that was done by probably by December. So here we are, June, July, August, September, October, November. So you've got 6 months. In a 6-month time frame, Cody and the SWAT team that run our organization were able to turn a company around from losing $100,000 a month to now making $78,000 a month. And of course, that number will only climb more and more and more. Now, of course, that's a beautiful thing, because I think that was one of the best business acquisitions we've done. Actually, the cleaning company. What are we in? Are we in due diligence, or what are we in that one?
Yeah, just the final stages right now. Our paperwork will be done in the next probably week. So not this week, but the following week. I imagine all the paperwork will be done. I'm leaving town Thursday for a week, so I'm doing the discovery day with just good faith tomorrow with the team, where we're just going to go through everything and at least put our plan together of what we want to get done. It's basically just attorney paperwork that we're waiting on right now.
It's interesting. Here's, man, there's so many common issues in all of these businesses, but let's talk about this for a second. So in a lot of these businesses, you have partners that start out with each other, and you might have a visionary and a visionary. And what ends up happening to those businesses is they both want to kill each other. Okay. Or in some other situations, you'll run into a business where you'll have an integrator and two visionaries, but still the same thing will happen. Basically, partnerships will start creating teams where it's like, hey, we really like each other. This other visionary over here is basically taking us out of where we really want to be, taking us out of orbit, so to speak. And that's really what's been happening with the business that we're looking at right now. We don't need to obviously talk about the business today. Is that this business owner is just saying, hey, buy me out. And so Cody and I are buying our way into that business and buying that owner out. And there are so many opportunities like this out there in the world. And the other thing is too, is that when you have your mind and your eyes down on your path and you're a business owner, right? You're a business owner, you're grinding. One day you look up and it's been 5 years and you've just gotten to a point where you're just sick of the business. I'll tell you what I mean by this. Saturday morning, my wife does yoga at our house. Top tier TC, Gators, sub 2, a lot of the wives and students come over and hang out and do yoga with my wife. And there's one of the students that comes over and goes, hey, we're selling our plumbing and electrical business and our restoration business. I'm like, really? And I'm sitting here thinking, that's what Cody and I are buying. Why do you want to sell? And I can tell you what happens is people just get to a point where they grinded so hard for so long that they no longer have the passion that they had for the first 3, 4, or 5 years of that business. They get to a point where like, I either A, need somebody to help me take this to the next level because I'm just sick and tired of this business, or B, I just need to get I need to get rid of this thing or let somebody else operate this. So we run into this a lot. And it's kind of what we are starting to specialize in, and what Cody's starting to specialize in is either A, let us buy your business, or B, why don't you just come to us and we'll take your business from $1 million in sales to 2 million in sales, or 2 million in sales to 5 million in sales, or 5 to 10. And so that's really what Cody's been focusing on and working hard on. Cody, have you seen any really interesting businesses over the last year that you're just like, absolutely not, there's no way I'm going to buy this business, or we're not even going to look at it? Anything super interesting?
Oh man, we've had a lot of stuff sent to us, and I would say some of the biggest things is people don't have a clue of what their numbers are, and I think that's some of it that pulls us away from wanting to do a deal, right? Like someone will think, oh yeah, like we're netting like 15-20%. I'm like, okay, great. And then we get into the financials and they're losing money. And I'm like, how are you netting? And he's like, well, we got these other costs. And like, once those are eliminated, we'll be there at that. And that's what our net should be. It's like, oh, that's a different story. So I would say that's, one of the common things is people just don't know what their numbers are, in their business. But
or how about this one that somebody sent you a business for us to look at the other day? They've been in business for over 20 years and their books are ran through an Excel spreadsheet. And you're like, how? You've been in business for 20 years. You don't even have a QuickBooks. You're like, how?
Not even Excel. Like they weren't even doing Excel, Pace. Like they were just basically looking at their bank statements every month and then putting it on a Word doc of like what was happening. And that's what they were doing. So,
wow.
It's going to take some time to go through the last couple of years of those bank statements to verify what the Word documents say. But 20-plus-year-old company, not doing QuickBooks, not doing
Microsoft
Excel.
Word.
Yep.
Here's a good question. Hey, Pace, where can I find a construction company to buy in Texas? Google construction company and call them. Like it's there. There's no, I mean, you could go to like Biz Buy Sell, you could go to there, but I feel like the business buying industry is rife for like complete disruption. Like there needs to be a centralized MLS across the country, right? Like there needs to be something that you can go in and there's governance, there's regulation, there's some sort of licensing procedure. And then there's also something that requires brokers to actually have a brain in their head. Look at my wife. She says, Happy Mother's Day to all the hardworking mamas out there. I got to hang out with my wife all day today. It was great. So Mr. Gorina, where can I find a construction company to buy in Texas? Really simple. Google construction company in Texas, or go to Biz Buy Sell or Kumo. I really like Kumo, KUMO.com. Kumo. I'm going to say it again because somebody will say, I wasn't ready. KUMO.com. Kumo. In fact, I'll even pull it up and maybe I'll log in for you guys. Kumo's dope because it's kind of like pulls top 10 companies together that are business buying businesses. Kumo, KUMO.com. There's probably a better one. Let's see here. Kumo business buying. All right. It's signup.withkumo.com. Horrible freaking business domain name. Signup.kumo.com. Okay. So 80,000 plus businesses for sale from thousands of brokers and top marketplaces distilled into one platform. So here, let me pull it up for you guys so you guys can see it. Have a hard time telling you guys all these stories. You'll say, I need to see it. Need to see it. There it is. Kumo. Really dumb website name, But there you go. There's companies trying to disrupt the business buying marketplace. They're trying to. But I just think it's so fragmented, and that there's somebody with like a big gorilla needs to come into the marketplace and just change it all up. But there you go. You can go to Kumo. Kumo's good. Here we go. This is interesting. Kimberly says, wow, that blows my mind. Kimberly, I'm going to say something to you that I don't think you'll believe. Literally 100% of businesses that we have looked at do not have their books straight. 100%. There's not one that's like, oh yeah, here you go. They're ready to go. Even the cleaning business we're buying, I imagine we're going through and like they're having to go, oh, give us a couple of weeks. Give us a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thankfully with them, they were like 75, 80% of the way there. You know, they had, prior to this company, they had both sold a pest control small business that they had before. So they were a little bit more in the loop that they need to have the things, but they, you know, things weren't being categorized correctly. There was, you know, things being categorized, you know, some personal expenses, you know, so there's still a lot of those same issues. They at least had QuickBooks. They've had it for a few years. So we're able to, you know, work off of that instead of, you know, starting from scratch, which a lot of times we're doing with these other companies. Or people are like, we want to sell. We're excited to talk, but, you know, our books haven't been caught up in a year and a half. So we need to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you assume all these businesses you drive by, all these businesses that even some of you guys work for, you assume their books are straight, their finances are cleaned up. It is highly unlikely that they actually know all the dollars and where they all go. It is a hard job. The financing part is a hard job, which I would say is one of the big superpowers that we have. We have a full-time CFO, genius guy named Ben. And so somebody can come to us. Actually, there's a really great question up here. Somebody said, so I have a hard time. You pull this up. Al Edmondson says, I know somebody who wants to sell, but having issues to see how to determine the value. So Ben, our CFO, actually comes into the community frequently, and he underwrites and teaches other people how to underwrite a business. It's not like underwriting a house. Cody can underwrite a house in 45 seconds. How long do you think it would take to give you a surface level underwrite of a business? 20 minutes, 45 minutes? What do you think, Cody?
The attorney answer is it depends because of, well, what's the data that we're given? What information is readily available? Do they have the list of all the assets of the company? Do they have, you know, all of the bank accounts? Do they know what the balances are on those? Do they have customer contract? I mean, there's so much more to it than, you know, on a house, like a single family house. It's, you know, you look at it, okay, bed, bath count, square footage, single story, you know, 2-story. Okay, look at the neighborhood. What's the activity in the neighborhood? And you can get through it pretty quick. Whereas a business, it's like opening up Pandora's box when you're like starting that, because you're like, oh, you have another entity involved in this, and oh, you have loans, and oh, you have, you know, so it's like there's so many layers that you're unpacking to get all of the information there. And then yes, it can be, you know, maybe a half-hour process, 20-30 minute process once you have all of the information. The hardest part is just having all of that to go off of the start.
Here's a funny thing. You and I were texting a couple of days ago, and we were talking about a business that came and submitted to themselves to us. And I said, thank goodness these guys don't know what they're doing, because all it does is give us it's like the greatest opportunity. If you can understand the financials and the money aspect of the business, managing the money, where it goes, how to track it, all that kind of stuff, you have a 99% edge over everybody else. 99% edge over everybody else, because no, that's the number one thing. The number one indicator of a small business is they don't have their books straight. And even though they might be tracking it, they still don't have their books straight. And what does that mean? It means, do we actually know what the money was used for? Was there strategy behind it? Are there allocations of the money and where it's supposed to be going? Do you know what your net profit is? Do you know when you're losing money? Do you know your seasonality of your business? Do you know when you're having this go high, your sales go low? Do you know when those things are happening? No. All I know is that there's money coming in the bank account and I can pay my bills and I can squeeze out a paycheck every once in a while. That is literally 100% of every business that we've looked at in the last year. So Cody has been actually working on something pretty special. Cody, tell me, what have you been working on?
In regards to the scaling deal?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's like over the last few years, the primary focus of, everything that I've been doing in the companies that we've been growing is, putting all of the infrastructure in a company that's needed to be there to be able to grow to that next level, right? Whether it's taking a company from 6 figures to 7 figures or 7 figures and getting it to 8 figures, right? And so, what we've kind of found is most of these companies all have similar things. It's like if you're going to bake a cake, you need a certain types of ingredients. And the same type of thing when it comes to growing and scaling companies is you need the right ingredients, but you also need them in the right order, because otherwise it's not gonna get the right rise when it's being cooked in the oven, or it's gonna, have the taste is gonna be off because you're doing something in the wrong order. And what I found is over these last years that we've been growing and scaling companies is, it's the same is true for companies. It's you got to do the right things in the right order, the right steps, right? And so, where we've built this leadership team, where obviously, myself, our CFO, Ben, our head of operations, Adriana, we have our, director of sales, Ashley, Alexander in HR, Kelly in senior web development. So, we've built this team out that essentially we found that every business that we go into, it's kind of the same thing. It's the same things. It might just be a little bit different based on that particular company, if it's a service-based or if it's a product-based company. And so, what we've done over this period of time is, we've documented out like, okay, what's the way that we're going to run the operating system for any company that we're involved in? How are we going to address, the issues when there's marketing challenges or the sales challenges or the operational challenges, fulfillment, finance, HR, all of those things, the people side. And then, one of the most important ones is the leadership side. How are we, building the culture within the team that's being built at these companies, and how are we setting them up for success so that, we put the right who's in the right seats in these companies as well. And so, we've just been documenting that over the years of, what worked, what didn't work, all the pain and suffering that we went through. And we're really bringing that all into, one place. And, what you're bringing up, Pace, is, we're putting together a community to help other people scale their businesses, people that are, doing 6 figures. There's no reason, they can't get to 7 figures a year with what we're putting together, because it's all there. Everything that we do to do that is what we're going to be sharing with people. And, people that are at 7 figures, all of the stepping stones are there to go to 8 figures a year and more, just from, what we've done. Right. So that's, something that we've been working on for a while
now. I love it. And do you have a link for this?
Yeah, if you just type in the chat, scalewithpros.com. I'm on Hael's computer, so it's not allowing me to comment in the chat for some reason, but scalewithpros.com. And that's where, for us having a conversation here in a couple of days, people could get more information on what that looks like.
I love it. Okay. So here's an interesting conversation. So we have a girl inside of Sub 2. She was texting me, emailing me, DM me. Pace, I need to sell my business. I have a business that I don't know this industry very well, so I'm going to say things incorrectly. I'm very sorry. She says, I basically do in-home care and I delegate to nurses. So I basically broker a nurse cost, right? These traveling nurses, and I get them into other people's homes. I'm like, so you're not doing any nursing? She's like, nope. I just find people that need in-home care, and I find the nurses and I put them together. And I'm like, okay, so you want to sell the business? Yes, I want to sell the business. How much are you making? Well, we're making 20 grand a month. Are you really making 20 grand a month? Yes, I'm really making 20 grand a month. I'm like, why would you sell the business? There's so many people in the community that are like this. So many people are like, oh, I have a business. I want to get out of my business and I want to go full-time into real estate. I'm like, why don't you just get your business to run on autopilot? Why would you get rid of your business? Well, I don't know how to do that. So I'd rather just sell the business. Okay. So this is what she says. She says all of these things. And I go, okay, let's get on a one-on-one Zoom. So I ended up putting this 2-hour Zoom inside of Zero Down, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And I said, what if you did this, this, and this? Would that have freed up your time and then take you from 20 grand a month to 40 grand a month? She's like, well, when you say it like that, that makes it sound so much easier than what I was thinking. And I'm like, how long have you been running this business? She's like, 3 years. And you're making 21 grand a month. Yes. Why would you sell the business? Well, because I don't know how to scale it. I don't see any way to go but down or being stagnant. So here we are 6 months later. She's at like $45,000 a month now based on the advice and the direction she was given. And she's like, now I don't want to sell the business. I want to double it. I want to triple it. I want to do all these things like now because I understand the thing and I have a new fervor, a new excitement around the business rather than just sitting here going, I hate this business because I don't know what to do. And I don't know if anybody in here, we've got a couple hundred people hanging out with us tonight. Thank you guys so much, especially on Mother's Day. I don't know if you guys were on that Zoom, but that Zoom was so awesome. And she's like, why are so many businesses selling their business? I'm like, because they need to learn how to scale. They don't know how to scale. They get to a point where they're, as Cody says, and Jim Rohn has said, and other really famous people have said, your personal income will never outweigh your personal development. And so if you're not developing yourself personally, you're not understanding how to scale and you're not understanding how to delegate and lead a team, you will get capped at $20,000. Yeah, there you go. Michelle Rice says, I was on that Zoom. This Zoom was amazing. She was crying. She's writing down notes. She's like, oh my gosh, I was going to dump this business and just go full-fledged into something else. I'm like, into something else? Meaning what? She's like, well, full-time real estate. I'm like, so you were going to have to go build up a whole other business because you didn't want to delegate and work on yourself and fix this problem. She's like, well, when you say it like that, it makes me sound stupid. I'm like, I'm not trying to make you sound stupid. I'm just trying to make you realize that we inside this community don't want to make the mistakes that I made. The year before I met Cody, I got rid of my construction business, and looking back on it now, we were doing $20 million a year in revenue. What the heck did I do shutting that thing down? What did I do? I should have scaled it properly. I should have delegated properly. I should have hired the right people. I should have done so much. And now what's funny is, ironically, 7 years later, here we are buying construction companies. When 7 years ago, I could not wait to get rid of my construction company. I couldn't wait to get rid of my construction company. And now here we are buying construction companies. That is the difference.
You know what the interesting thing about it is too? And you know, it's the question always is, what's the coolest business that's out there? Anyone else's but the one that you're in.
Yeah, very true. It is very, very true. And it is, yeah, there you go. Dustin Seiler says it's full circle. It's scary how full circle it is, Dustin, right? Because people are like, well, you got out of construction. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I shouldn't have. I should have learned how to delegate and systematize and actually operate the business properly and get myself out of the business. I was the biggest problem in that business. I was 100% the biggest problem in that business. And here I am. Same thing even with Justin, right? Justin was electrician, was in the trades, doing all the things. And now here he is. He's like, oh, I should buy an electrical company. It's so freaking hilarious. The only difference is how much we've worked on ourselves and we've developed ourselves and understood systems and processes and how things should actually happen. Every other person's business is more exciting than the one that you're in. And that is so freaking true. So freaking true. So
you know all the problems, you know, all the crap happening, going sideways, and the disgruntled customers or upset team member or this or that.
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, Scott told me if my business can't run without me for 6 months, I don't have a real business. I would say that's probably a little aggressive. I would say if your business can't run with you for more than, like, you definitely have a business, but I would say that if you're spending more than 2 hours a day on your business, then it definitely owns you. Cody and I have several businesses that we spend, an hour, maybe a day on every single day. But I would not say that you should just leave it alone for 6 months. And here's why. Depending on the size, culture of that company is the most important part of the business, is the culture and the leadership in there. And if your company relies on your leadership and your energy, like your sales department, for example, and you're like, I'm out for 6 months, the culture will change. It will change dramatically. It will change in a week, 2 weeks. Okay. Turner Ogle says, any business book recommendations on buying and analyzing businesses? There's a really good book I read. I've read it twice, and I think it's like very rudimentary and basic. It is, what is the name of the book? Is it Buy This First? Let's see. Let me pull it up. I read it twice, and I can't even remember the title.
Is it Buy Then Build?
Buy Then Build. Yeah, Buy Then Build. That's what it was.
Walker Diebel.
Yeah, Walker Diebel. Yeah, there it is. Right there. Buy Then Build. It's okay. Phenomenal book, and like telling you what the opportunity is. It really, after 10 chapters of that book, 12 chapters of that book, all it did was highlight to me the numbers behind the industry. It does not teach you how to underwrite a business. It does not teach you how to operate a business. It does not teach you even how to find a business. It says very ambiguous, generic information like call businesses that you like. There's no scripting really. It glances over seller finance.
It's just like very high, big picture.
Yeah. So I would say that's a good book for you just to get introduced to the industry. For those of you guys in sub 2, I would go and watch the Zero Down training that Cody and I put together about 7 months ago. And we continue to add to it. Also, Ben, our CFO, goes in and actually underwrites businesses live, and he does a phenomenal job. Justin Bozek says owner finance in business is very common. So you guys saw Matt Sorensen on Squat Up Summit. He said that when a seller finance note is not included in a business purchase, he assumes there's something wrong. Write that down. A business buying attorney who represents Cody and I, he says when he sees businesses being bought or sold and he does not see seller finance involved, he assumed somebody missed something. And he's like, wait, hold on. Where's the seller finance? Because creative finance is like, it's married to buying and selling businesses. Okay. Turner Ogle says, thanks for answering my question. New viewer turned new fan. No problem, Turner. Hopefully that book I gave you, the recommendation Buy Then Build, will be a page turner. All right. That was good. That was good. It's Mother's Day, but I had to throw a little dad joke in there for you. Okay. So Scale with Pros, Cody, what are we doing again over at Scale with Pros?
Yeah. I mean, really the thing that, we've built and put together again, over the last few years, taking everything that we do and that we know to work in all areas of business. From a leadership standpoint, I think I have, a dozen hours of recordings on like all these specific things that we do from a leadership standpoint, from a people and culture and hiring and building teams and how to put those teams together standpoint as well. And really, one of the cool things that we're going to be doing in that community is basically allowing people to have access to, myself and all of our leadership. We're putting people that are joining that community, in Slack channels with us to be able to ask questions about their businesses. Obviously, like a lot of what you do in sub 2, inviting people to join different Zooms on specific topics. People are struggling with hiring. We're going to be covering specific things on exactly how we do those processes. So really just to help other people shorten that learning curve. It's like all of the pain and suffering that we had to go through is what we're hoping to just kind of slash that so people can just move faster and get the information that they need so that they can move you know, a lot faster and be able to make decisions a lot faster with what they need to do in their business to take it to that next level.
If you guys are a business owner out there right now going, man, I want to sell my business. I want to focus more on real estate, or I want to go buy a different type of business. I would challenge you, go to scalewithpros.com and say, hold on a second. If Pace wishes he did not shut down his construction company 7 years ago, because now he is now buying construction companies with Cody based on the knowledge they now have obtained. I need that knowledge. I need that guidance. I need that help so I can take the business I have today, and instead of me selling it, how do I 10X it? How do I 5X it? Whatever that is. And more importantly, how do I just remove myself from that business 80%? Alexis, is college necessary? I would say college is necessary if you are a doctor and you are an attorney, maybe a CPA. Well, CPA definitely has to go to college. Outside of that, engineer, yeah. If you don't be building bridges, okay? Don't be building bridges at all, okay? Without a college degree. But then here's the funny thing is every one of them, they leave college and they learn everything after they leave college in their internships, and they learn it on the job. You learn everything in real estate. You learn everything in business actually on the job. You don't learn it from a book. You get some guidance, you get some framework, but really all the hard work that you put in your actual business, the problems, the issues, the triumphs, that's what you actually learn. Yeah, Justin Bozak, real estate agent out of New Jersey, handsome son of a gun, says sub 2 cost has way better return on ROI than college. I would 100% say that's true for sure. Chris says, oh, hey, good to see you, brother. I don't recognize you without that Mario mustache, Chris. Facts, after working in tech for 10 years, he was at Google for 10 years. Xander Smith says, I'm currently getting my MBA. Am I wasting my time? Freak, yes, you are. Can I just be honest with you? Why not just buy a business? Go buy a laundromat. Go buy something. Operate, manage an actual employee. Don't listen to some college. What are you going to do with an MBA? What kind of stuff can you go do with an MBA? I can go work for a business as an employee. Does that actually teach you how to run a business?
I mean, that's gonna be what that opens up. You know, when somebody applies to work for us and they have an MBA, I'm like, okay, cool. But I don't, it's like these little accolades that people have of like, went to this college or like have an MBA, have these things. And like, I mean, I look at it, but I really just want to know about their experience they have in solving real problems and other real businesses rather than their, you know, the things that they got from college from theory, which I know sounds harsh, but you know, it's like, that's what a lot of it is like theoretical situations. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do when you come into a real business and like stuff just hits the fan and like the theory is out the window and it's just real life?
You know, I would say the most interesting part of all the theory, which is all bullshit, is apply a unique personality to every bullshit theory you've ever heard. Because here's the thing. You're managing people. Is every person you've ever managed, Cody, identical? And do you give them the same approach and do the same exact thing to handle them and get them to do what you need the company to do?
Oh my gosh. No. I mean, so something that, you know, we talk about and, you know, we have, you know, this framework that we use within our hiring, and it's, you know, humble, hungry, smart. We have specific questions that we ask to, you know, try to identify team members that are humble because we don't want ego heads coming into work for our company. We have certain questions that we ask to make sure that they're hungry. They want to grow. They want to, you know, succeed, and they want to get better. They want to go to the next level, because we don't want people that are just average status quo working at our company either. And then that final one, the smart, which is people smart, is that it's the, how do you work with other personalities? Because, you know, somebody that may be a super expressive personality needs to figure out how to go communicate with that person that just wants direct communication, and vice versa. or somebody that's a lot more emotional communicating with somebody that's just very direct. It's like you have these different personalities, and the way that you manage people is a little bit different. It's, like I see it as you almost have to become a chameleon to navigate working with different personalities. Like you're managing to the same results, but the way that you do it is a little bit different.
Yeah, I 1000%. And here's an interesting thing. One of the businesses that Cody and I own, the main reason why the business wasn't growing was not because of theory, wasn't because of how hard we were working, wasn't based on our intelligence or the product or the customer support. It was dependent on the person that was our business partner that was holding us back from being able to grow the business and actually make decisions. The business decision was actually removing a human being from that business to allow it to go the direction it needed to go. So are they going to teach you that at your MBA school of how to navigate and remove a partner in a way that is beneficial? And then are they also going to, oh my gosh, the way we were able to pay off that note and do all the things that we did, what a miraculous thing. Good thing I went and got my MBA. Didn't get any of that. And I can tell you, I know more about business than any MBA I've ever ran into. So, and it's because I got my face kicked in 100 times. And there's still so much to learn. So I would, it's interesting. I would look at an MBA or I'd look at business school as a personality thing. Is that something that you are super excited about? Are you acquiring debt through that? Are you getting student loans? Like, why not just go get a loan to buy a business, bro? You'll learn way more by making money and actually owning a business than you ever will by getting a college degree that's going to take you 4 years, 6 years, whatever it is. So interesting thing. The understanding of how to run a business and double it, triple it. Oh, bro. And it's minor things too, like marketing. It's amazing how minor some of these things are, little teeny tweaks. Even the plant guy, the company that Cody and I bought last summer, the sales process, the leads that are pouring into this business, and the company just is not handling any of the leads. They're sitting in Instagram DMs for 6 months. You've got princesses and princes of England and like European countries DMing the Instagram account, and nobody's replying to them. I'm not exaggerating. It's like A-list celebrities are DMing the plant guy, and nobody on the sales team is handling any of those things. And you're like, oh, that sounds like common sense. Yeah, great. Might be to you because you're in our audience, but it is not common practice. That is the most minor things that get tweaked that can change a company from $2 million a year in revenue to $20 million a year in revenue. Very minor things. So if you guys are a business owner out there, okay. Yeah. People are like, this is the thing. Chris says that is wild. No. And I know it's a figure of speech, Chris, but you're teeing me up. So I'm going to tell you, it's not wild. It's common. It is so frequently done. Okay. Plant guy is a real deal. Yeah, it is a real deal. It's a real business that we bought last summer. You can go look it up. Instagram is the plant guy. It's a phenomenal business. Makes 80 grand a month, roughly. But think about that. That's one of 25 things that we got into that business and we're like, wow. Well, let's tweak this. Let's fix this. Let's tweak this. Let's tweak that. So that's what Scale with Pros is all about. Okay. It's all about finding those little tweaks. If you guys are somebody out here that's saying, I have a business, I was thinking about selling it, I don't know how to take it to the next level, come work with Scale with Pros. Let's get you to double your business. Let's get you to quadruple your business. Let's get you out of that business. Okay. Do you agree that most successful managers have exceptionally high psychological awareness? They know how to react with the right degree of temperament. Yeah, probably.
100%. I mean, the things that are the most challenging things that I have to deal with on a regular basis are when there's managers or leaders of certain departments that have low emotional intelligence, low people skills. because that causes so many problems in a business when people they don't know how to jive together. They don't know how to resolve a problem without it turning into an emotional situation. There's that holds businesses back so much that it's honestly, somebody, Jack commented on here, is common sense underrated in business? Well, common sense becomes so common because it's so common for you, but because it isn't for everyone. To me, it's common sense that I want to hire and put a leader in place in a department that understands how to work with the different personalities in that department. But somebody listening on here that's never done that before maybe doesn't know that. It's common sense to me that I wouldn't ever just promote my best salesperson into a sales manager, because I've seen that happen. And just because someone's a great salesperson doesn't mean they're a great leader of people, and doesn't mean a great leader of people is going to be a great salesperson. So these are, common sense is, it's hard to say what is common and what's not common sense in business, because there's a lot of people that they just don't have the information and they've never done this before.
Yeah, 100%. Mono Siege Bagchi. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm such a white person, dude. Like, I'm just such a stupid, idiot white person. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I apologize. Siege Bagchi. Any advice for folks who want to start a business from scratch? Don't. Have we done it? Yes. We've done it a dozen times. We failed.
Do we want to keep doing it? No.
I think I'll start. The only way I'll start a business now is if it's a bolt-on to an existing successful business we have, and we can't find the vertical to plug into it. So for example, let's say you own a property management company, which Cody and I are in the process of buying a property management company. Let's say we own a property management company and we want to own a handyman business to service our clients that we manage their properties, right? They're going to have carpet repairs. They're going to have carpet cleaning. They're going to have repairs for paint and drywall and all these things. Why subcontract that out when we could do it ourselves and actually take that market ourselves? Property management clients are not very particular about how much they're spending on little like hot water heater or a garbage disposal or this or that. You can make great money owning a handyman business or a maintenance business that's attached to your property management company. In fact, that's where tons of money is made. Would we want to start a handyman business? No, we do not. I would much rather, I would much rather find a handyman business that's like, yo, I'd love to have more guaranteed work and you guys can direct us and all of that kind of stuff. And we take that handyman business that we buy and we bolt it onto the property management company, and therefore amplifying. However, if we can't find the handyman company, or we say, you know what, let's just start our own because we already have the workflow, we already have the sales that we could hand over to the handyman business. Let's just start one from scratch. That is the only way that I would start a business from scratch, is that if we already had the built-in sales systems that new company could plug into. Okay. Jemiah says, where could I attach into your property management company as a painting company? You can't. We will do all the painting ourselves. This is going fully vertical. We'll just do it all ourselves. And now you can, Jemiah, go and work with Scale with Pros. Go to, actually, I'll put the link in the side chat. Scalewithpros.com. You can work with Cody. You could work with the team to go, how do I double my business? How do I triple my business? How do I quadruple my business without me being the person that's being stuck in that position? That's what Cody's working on right now, is scalewithpros.com. You can go to property management companies and they'll give you work orders. It's a great place to get started, to do a lot more work. Now you got to be doing stellar work. Otherwise you're going to lose all of your clients and you're not going to get referrals. Ali J says, where can replays to this YouTube channel be found? Go to youtube.com/Pace Morby, and you can find every week we go live. Okay. Start a door knock pre-foreclosure from scratch. That's going to be very smart. Yeah, I think that's good depending on your personality type. I think 99% of people will knock doors for about 2 hours. They won't do it. People want to sit behind a computer. They want emails and text messages to do the work for them. Most people, most people are not going to do that. So, oh, this is an interesting one. Jose Rafael Blanco Alvarez. There you go. He must have had carne asada for dinner tonight too, bro. Okay. By the way, Cody's girlfriend and fiance is Hispanic, so he gets all the good Hispanic food. He's a lucky son of a gun.
He does at least 3 nights a week.
That's freaking great. Okay, so Jose says, I need a buyer for a real estate and business opportunity in Katy, Texas. I would email Cody. Cody, what's your email?
You could email it to cody@manifestyou.com.
Now, we aren't going to buy that business, but we know people that are looking for businesses, so we can connect you for sure. We will not buy that business. Why? Because we're buying businesses in Arizona. We're not buying business in Katy, Texas. Okay. Ooh, that's great. Man, there's a lot of great comments in there. I could go on here for hours. Sadly, it is Mother's Day, so I don't want to take up too much time. I promised I would be on here for 45 minutes. We've been on here for 52. So check this out. Nephi says, I knocked just the other day. My brother and his wife were surprised that was happening. This is why I make love to Pace. I feel like that's not my wife. I'm going to put that, somebody named themselves Laura Morby last time. It got pretty nasty. Do you have any example videos of your channel outlining the numbers in terms of buying a business using seller finance? Yeah, multiple, Turner. Multiple. A couple of businesses that we've bought, and go and check those out on the YouTube channel. Interesting. Yeah, I love this. Justin says this. Think forward 10 years. What will Pace be scaling, and how many of you will be taking action? See you in the future. What a great question. The action I would take, if you guys are a business owner or a business owner, action I would take today is go to scalewithpros.com, work with Cody, work with the team, double your business. We're going to be doing a challenge. The day of the challenge is actually starting on Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yeah, Tuesday night at, I think it's 5 Arizona time for everyone that changes their freaking time zones.
Okay.
5 p.m. Arizona time.
5 p.m. Arizona time. That's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is 4 p.m. Mountain Time, Central Time. It's the opposite.
Other way.
6 p.m. Mountain Standard, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Last question of the night. Real quick, happy Mother's Day. What questions to open up the acquisition of a subject commercial entity? Christopher Michael Group. Here's what I would do. Rewrite that question, my brother. I am so confused. Do you understand that question?
No.
I'm not that dumb. I am dumb, but I'm not that dumb. I would tell you that question does not make any sense. What questions to open up the acquisition of a subject commercial entity? I have no clue. No clue what that question means. Nephi, I saw your question earlier. Okay. Pace, my house won't pass an appraisal. I can't refi. Is there another option? I failed inspection when I bought it 3 years ago. 2 weeks later, they passed it, and I'm stuck. Okay. Nephi, if you are in the sub 2 community, come and talk to me this week. I'm going to be doing a couple of Zooms. Actually, I will be doing 4 3-hour Zooms this week in sub 2. So I'll see you multiple times. You can come and talk to me personally. Okay. What do you ask a seller of a business? Great question. Go and Cody, you should just write a book, bro. Just write a book. I don't want to refer other books out, bro. Can you just write a book?
We could spend one up probably this, 2025.
Okay. Cody's going to spin one up. Christopher, hang tight. In the meantime, guys, go to scalewithpros.com. We will see you guys tomorrow for Wholesale Hotline. We'll go in a full hour and a half on this exact topic. And I appreciate you guys so freaking much. Scalewithpros.com. See you tomorrow. Wholesale Hotline. We out.